My grandfather sailed a spritzel barge up and down the Thames, so maybe I inherited some of it. 70-footer he had.
Ernie Coleman sails, an amateur racer who has filled his home with decades of trophies. His boat wasn't always the naturally swiftest on Lake Ontario, but Ernie knew all of the tricks that could ease his craft over the finish line first, especially on days when the wind was elusive. Now Ernie is 93 and a little battered, but moves easily about, thanks to a few new parts here and there. And he is crisp of mind as he is prodded for the details of his life, a man who has been caught up in the midst of life's largest moments, a child of the Great Depression, a graduate of the greatest generation, as we now call it. A carpenter, Ernie has built things and rebuilt his life repeatedly, struggling through divorce and the death of 2 wives. With the marriages came 1 adopted child, 7 stepkids. He's adapted to change. He's a survivor. His hands wave in front of him for a moment as though he's pushing away the memory of the Battle of Savo Island during the Guadalcanal campaign. 1/3 of his shipmates, more than 300 men, were killed when the USS Vincennes rolled over in the early morning darkness and went to the Iron Bottom Sound, so named because it is a graveyard of so many ships and their crews. It is not a story he shares. He exchanges those nightmares for beautiful evenings chasing the wind off the coast of Lake Ontario.
All I could think of was sailing. I used to make model boats and float them around, and in the springtime, of course in school, you see a creek going along, you break a match off, tell your buddy, then you race them down the stream. That, I don't know, it's just was second nature to me, just to be around the water and on the water. That's just my life. I entered a sport that I loved, and I did the best I could, and I was always trying to make my boat go faster. A little gadget here, a little gadget there, anything that could improve its speed. Read books on the rules of the road and learned them and sailed the boat. And I don't I don't like to win races from mistakes from the other fellas. It's a hollow victory. So whenever I'm out there and I see a newcomer coming up, I tell them, don't do this and don't do that. Do this and do this and do this and do this.
Nice going. There we are. Home again.
Home again, jiggity jig jig.
I had a good life. I had a sad life, and I had a good life. Overall, I have no complaints.
Most of us hope to live meaningful lives and have an impact on those closest to us. We probably won't change the course of world events. Yet the stories of people like Ernie are useful in that larger way because they are the truth. If those truths give us pause before we rush men and women into harm's way, that is good. Or if those truths simply show a young sailor how to find an elusive breeze on an otherwise peaceful lake, that is good as well.